do this. I'm itchy.
Put it.
Somebody take my foot.
It's a process to put this on, but it's worth it for the honey.
I don't really like bugs. Like every time I see a bee or something, I run or I scream. Like I can't be near it.
They're just like humans, just different. Yes.
Hopefully I get to touch one today, like rub it, not like get stung.
I'm stealing his interview now. Get out the way. Hopefully I get to feel what bees are like, you know, on my body and all that. Hopefully I get to meet the queen bee. I know she has a green dot on her.
So right in here, we're looking in there, we see a milky white larva.
Ew, what?
So those are young bees.
I see the little worms.
Yep.
Let me see what
Yeah, it's how they get the bees. They will never know.
Yep.
Wait.
Yep. There we go. Okay.
There are other therapeutic beekeeping programs. They're mostly for vets. This is the first in this country that I'm aware of that's for teenagers and that uses beekeeping at the intersection of healing and mental health and job skill building. I've worked in various capacities in the child protective and foster care systems, and Huneebee Project was born really out of extreme disheartenment with working within these systems. I realized very quickly that I did not discover anything new about beekeeping because every beekeeper I spoke with, their response when I was like, it feels kind of therapeutic, huh? And they would say, yeah, like that's one of the reasons we do it.
The nice thing about this day is like when you have a day that's this nice and it feels good to be a human being in weather like this, it usually feels pretty good to be a bee in weather like this. So this should be a good first day to open the hive. This should be pretty chill and gentle. Ready? Let's go on over. Caron, will you hold that for me? You can feel it's like pretty heavy.
You're kind of learning some of that patience, kind of learning the behavior of bees. The behavior of the bees mimic a lot of who we are, like human beings, right? If you interrupt my environment, I'm not going to be so happy about it either. So just kind of learning how to learn what they need and be able to listen to them.
Oh, look at this. Here's a bee who's coming out into the world for the first time, right there.
They come here on a Saturday, whatever they got going on during the week, and then you come here, you learn, you do the bees, and it's just something so completely different from your ordinary life and your everyday struggles and stuff that you got going on. It just opens up a whole different world. You know, you're scared of certain things that you think is a big deal. When, you know, you get to learn more about it, you might be scared of getting on an airplane, but you do the research and you start learning more about the airplane, and you know that flying is one of the safest forms of transportation. So it's kind of like the same thing with the bees.
Prior to Huneebee, I was definitely like struggling a lot. I wasn't necessarily raised with the idea of like therapy being helpful, and I wasn't really taught what like mental health meant, what trauma looked like. In high school, when I tried to take my life, I was finally recommended therapy. So when I started the program and like I got to learn about the bees and like everything else, my first time getting suited up and everything, I was definitely terrified and like anxious and everything else, but the build up alongside like having all these people to talk to and this like kind of like new little community was definitely really helpful.
It really is incredible how many different paths can emanate from the garden. It's not just about keeping bees, and it's not just about planting flowers.
Well, you see, I thought I was gonna get stung by a bee or like a couple because I was like shaking a little bit.
Like the bees, they're not trying to hurt you. Like they're nice. Like they don't want to hurt you.
I found the buzzing, like the white noise that they created, absolutely mesmerizing. I think the needing to kind of breathe through it allows it to be kind of this like mindful task.
Oh yeah, I felt pretty peaceful. I wasn't really nervous or anything.
Therapeutic is like just calming, letting me feel like, there's no worries, letting me feel like there's nothing, there's nothing really going on. It's just me and the bees. You know what I'm saying?
Tati, will you back up just for 1 second? I'm gonna shake them. Clean that out. There's a fair amount of confusion because you're like, wait,